Hello everybody, welcome to the main channel, and today I have another interesting video for you. I don't know if you knew this, but Atlus actually released this player survey for kind of just looking at what's going on with fans and what do they want and everything. So I actually already submitted my personal survey, but I wanted to go on with you guys. Now this is mainly to talk and discuss my ideas on what I think Atlus is gonna do with certain stuff and everything like that. I'm gonna go over certain questions, and some stuff I'm just gonna skip over and everything, but I figured I'll just do this over and just kind of talk about my ideas and stuff like that, so I just kind of want to see it. Now if you want to, I will leave a link in the description below if you want to fill out this survey for them and everything. You can actually win some stuff if you actually are interested in participating with this. So read over the rules and everything. Pretty much you can get a chance if you want to do it. Now I recommend you doing it soon, because you know, you got until well I guess you got until today unfortunately. I'm sorry, you got until March 7th, so yeah, so you got some time there before you can actually do it. But yeah, just check it out, check in the comments below, and kind of just do it. Like I said, you have pretty much a whole week from today to kind of just go over it. Anyway, so let's go ahead and get started with it. Now I already did it, so I already have my ideas and everything. So the first couple questions are just kind of just whatever questions. They are just kind of just going over some kind of knowing what the kind of person they are interviewing in this kind of stuff. It's gonna ask you you know, your age, gender, kind of stuff. I'm just gonna gloss over all that, but then we get here and it's kind of asking you what system do you own or have you owned in the past. And actually I own all of these, pretty much every one of these I own, so it's gonna be obviously different for everybody here. I don't own an Xbox One X, but I do own a Xbox One and a computer and a phone, whatever, right? I don't actually have an Oculus Rift, but I do have a PlayStation VR. So whatever, I'm not gonna necessarily focus on this question a lot, but it's pretty interesting. They kind of want to know what you're looking to buy games for, and that's pretty interesting to see, especially if you look at something like the PlayStation Vita, which is at this point we know that they're no longer Sony, you know, putting a lot of effort into it, whatever. And this is pretty interesting as well. They're asking the genres and kind of what you're into, whatever. So really good stuff. Personally, I like action games and fighting games. I like RPGs, of course, so that's kind of like what I'm gonna choose, and I will do visual novels, but I have pretty much like all of this stuff, so I might actually change to third person shooters, whatever. So pretty good stuff there, but obviously this is just kind of just whatever stuff, pretty much. And it's just kind of want to ask me this, whatever. It doesn't really matter. You guys don't need to know where I'm at, so just gonna go for the first one. So yeah, anyway, so I'm just gonna go ahead and move on with this. But here's what it's interesting. First of all, they want to know what kind of games you own so far. So pretty cool. I actually own a lot of these games too, so again, this answer is gonna be different for everybody, and these doesn't really tell you much, but they really care about these kind of stuff for a couple different reasons, and we'll go over that in a second, because later on down the road they actually ask you what games are you kind of interested on playing, or what can we do to make you interested on the games you didn't choose or whatever. But the next question is actually the first one I actually care about, and this question is actually regarding what games do you see you want more content for. And it's pretty interesting because some of these stuff are actually games that we haven't heard of in a while. Devil Summoner and Devil Survivor, for example, Devil Digital Saga. These three games right here date back as far as the 3DS and the PlayStation 2. So we haven't seen a lot of stuff on these games, particularly Devil Summoner, I'm sorry, Digital Devil Saga, for example. We haven't heard of this one in a while, and it's a really good game. I would like to see more content for that, so definitely Persona 3, 4, and 5. Definitely, you know that right now they're going through this time where they're releasing all these games. More Shin Megami Tensei will be really appreciated. Definitely haven't had a lot of these in a while, but the only one that is really interesting is Persona Q. You separate it from Persona 3, 4, and 5. My guess is that at some point they probably want to do a spin-off series, just Persona Q by itself, just how they did Shin Megami Tensei Persona as a spin-off series from Shin Megami Tensei, and then it turned into its own thing. I can see that going on later on down the road. And this is also really interesting because the next question is, which franchises have you played and enjoyed? And if you look at this section right here, and I'm gonna give you kind of some time to go over them, but it's really interesting because all of these games here have something in common. They have two things in common. One thing will be they are RPGs. A lot of them are RPGs. Diablo, Dragon Quest, Fallout, Final Fantasy, Monster Hunter, the Elder Scrolls, Kingdom Hearts. But the other thing about them is these games are really story heavy games. First, single player, strong in first story. So it's pretty interesting to think that a lot of these games are talking about. Mainly I really enjoy games like Monster Hunter, Elder Scrolls, of course, The Last of Us, The Witcher series is fantastic, Dragon's Quest, really good game, Fallout, and so on. So you can see. Now I don't know what they will put Just Cause. I wouldn't, out of all these games, Just Cause is just kind of one of those games, kind of like, okay, I like Red Dead Redemption, but I don't think it matches in any of those stuff at all. It's a different kind of game altogether. So yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and continue with this. Don't mind my answers, really. I'm just gonna already answer it. So first question that is really interesting, asking you, are you a fan of Catherine? And yes, I am a fan of Catherine. I did a couple videos about it. If you're interested, maybe you should check them out. But it's really interesting because now they want to know how you got introduced into it. And I found that from actually just the Atlus website. I got an email about it whenever the first one came out. Thought it was pretty cool. And then, what would you like to see about Catherine in the future? Now, this is this question, you will be asked this question for pretty much everything else here, like Persona, Shin Megami Tensei, and so on. But one thing that I want to point out is all of them, they ask you about DLC. Now, Atlus, if you ever stumbled to this video for some reason, I want to tell you this: I don't care for DLC. Actually, really upsets me that you sell DLC for Persona and stuff like that, because in the other games you used to be able to unlock the special costumes and that kind of stuff in the game, and now you're selling them like $5 per set. I don't like that at all. I think that's pretty shitty, and I'm sorry, I'm a huge Persona fan, so I have to tell you this. I don't like that at all. I think you should stop that before it gets a problem. It was a bigger problem for me on the dancing games, especially because you're selling single songs, that kind of stuff. I don't like that. You know, it's not something that you should be doing. You're a small company, so I support your spin-off games. If you look at my background, for example, I have collector's editions in most of these games because I'm a huge fan. But I don't really wanna like spend all this money on DLC and that kind of stuff. Now, merchandise, definitely make some merchandise for Catherine. That will be cool. But the biggest of all, get me a real sequel. You know, you already did a remaster and everything, but I would like it. I would like a sequel. Now, this is really interesting, and pay attention to this, please. They also have an Xbox One port and a Nintendo Switch port. Now, I don't care much for the Xbox One, as I mentioned in other videos. It's cool and it's fine. If you own one, you should probably get this. Nintendo Switch port needs to happen. Make it happen. Alright, so same thing with Dragon's Crown. I played Dragon's Crown. Am I a fan? Yeah, I will consider myself a fan. A friend recommended me that game, and I don't actually. The other thing I will say is a port for pretty much all of the different consoles and everything, and maybe a sequel. That would be really cool. If you don't know about Dragon's Crown, it's basically a hand-drawn style, 2D style RPG. It's really good. You should definitely take a look at it, but it's nothing like Persona. It's just really different. Atrium ADC. So I played a lot of these games, but I wouldn't consider myself a fan, so I'm gonna say no. And how did I find out about it? Online, through online. Just somebody I read online and I played it. I will say I don't really care much for this stuff, but I will say definitely somebody would like to get a sequel. I will imagine. Now pay attention to this as well because notice how the other games such as Catherine and what was the other one? What was it? Dragon's Crown, they have ports. This one is not asking you if you want a port. So they're seriously considering games like Catherine and Dragon's Crown to get a proper port to different systems. That's really interesting. I would like to see that maybe in the future. I don't know. So now going into the other ones, obviously Persona. So my first Persona game was actually Persona 3. I played Persona 3 and then I played Persona 2, 4, and then Persona Revelations, and then obviously all the spin-offs and everything. Do you actually own every single one of these here? You have all my money. Am I considered a fan of Persona? Yeah, I guess you can say that. How did I find out about Persona? A friend recommended me the game. And what do you... Yeah, okay, well, pretty much everything except for the DLC, to be honest with you. I don't care for an Xbox One port, but I want more people to learn about Persona. So yeah, definitely I would like everybody to just get a port for I don't care for the exclusivity thing. I'm not a PlayStation fanboy, so if more people can get to play the game, by all means. I'm never gonna get mad because somebody got to play the game on an Xbox One or a Switch or whatever. I'm not gonna get mad about that. I would like you to play the game. That would be really cool. Definitely could use more viewers. I mean, if you become a fan of Persona or whatever, a PC port will be the best thing. I mean, running that game at 4K, amazing. Yeah, that's it. Okay, let's go to the next one now. And this is Shin Megami Tensei. So my first Shin Megami Tensei game was actually a Devil Summoner, and that was Raido Kusunoha versus King Abaddon. And this is a hack and slash game, really cool game. You should take a look at it. I speak about this game in another video, but just a little bit. Am I considered a fan? Yeah, I am. I'm a huge fan. And I found from a friend as well. This is that's how you used to learn about games back in the day. People will tell you about them. Real people, not like YouTubers or anything like that. No, they're not. I mean, I'm a real person. You know what I mean. And what would I like? A remake, a remaster, and a fucking sequel. We need a sequel. We need another Shin Megami Tensei game. And we already know there's one on the works for the Switch, but PlayStation port, please. PC port, Xbox One port, definitely. More merchandise. There's literally no merchandise for Shin Megami Tensei at all. And kind of like just gonna ask you why you don't play these games. Basically, you remember at the beginning they ask you why you didn't get these games. Mainly, it's gonna be the same thing for me in all of this. I don't. Just haven't had a chance to play them, you know. So I plan to eventually buy them. You know, like that's what I'm gonna do. Especially with games like Sphere. I played some, you know, but not all of them. You know, I don't own them physically. Did you pre-order games? Now this is also pretty interesting. I do sometimes, not all the time, but this is pretty much, you know, all stuff not related to actually like it's got nothing to do with anything. To be honest with you, this is just personal stuff, really. Yeah, this is just random stuff. Like none of this is particularly. Now, one thing that I will mention in this section is asking regarding this: why do you pre-order? And the physical bonus is a feature that I like. I don't care for DLC or for digital pre-order bonuses. I don't care for that stuff. Not that I will disapprove of you or be mad at you or anything if you care for DLC. I just don't really care about that. And I only buy some games full price. So from here on, I don't really care much for the rest of this survey because this is targeting a specific kind of thing. You know, they just want to know more about digital games or whatever. So I don't really care much for this stuff. regarding all this stuff. This is not my main thing about this video, so I'm just gonna click through it and whatever. I buy collector's editions every single time I can, Atlus. You know it. You can see my background. Anyway, so I think we're done with this survey here and whatever. So yeah, pretty much that's it right there. From there on, there's just more questions regarding how you find out about the products and so on. Nothing really that I care for to talk about in this video particularly, but it's really interesting they actually decided to do this video here, just kind of see what they think about Atlus and kind of just what they're planning to do next, because Atlus is in the process of becoming a international company. They, if you don't know, they actually self-publish their games in the US, but in some states or countries like in Europe, for example, sometimes people don't know if they're gonna get the next Atlus game because it's not self-published in Europe or some other places. Atlus also has a thing where they only release them in either Asian languages or English. There's no Spanish or French or anything like that. A lot of these games never get translated to other languages. So personally, I'm interested to see what Atlus is planning to do next, and I feel like Atlus becoming more global with Persona 5 means that they have to either grow their studio as they're doing right now. They actually, I read a recent article regarding how they're spending a lot of the stuff and everything. So it'll be really interesting to see what's going on and what they're trying to do and everything. You can see a lot of this stuff is geared towards new entries, towards remakes, and towards ports. So it's really interesting to see what they're gonna do. Mainly Persona, Shin Megami Tensei, and Catherine. That's the ones that I see that they're really asking a lot of questions about. Catherine, obviously, because it's the remake's coming out sometime this year, and then obviously Persona, because there's so many Persona stuff going on soon. But anyway, what do you think of this here? Do you want to take it or anything? Just kind of let me know about it, because I'm really interested to see and everything. Definitely thanks so much for sticking into this video if you did, and if not, just thank you. Anyway, thanks so much for watching this video here, and if you're new, consider subscribing. Maybe I talk about Persona and Atlus and pretty much that kind of stuff. Anyway, thanks so much for watching the video here, and I'll see you next time.